Hello, welcome to another Unity game dev video. I am showing off the same game I was working on before, my little snake project. Just right off the bat, I wanted to get out of the way. There is a activate Windows watermark in the corner of the screen. It's kind of hard to see, but you might notice it. That is because I recently upgraded my rig. I have changed the RAM, the motherboard, and a few other components. So that's why it's not showing my Windows as legitimate, and I have no idea where my product key is, so I probably won't get that activated for a while. Not a big deal. But so what I wanted to show off now is that I have redone the crash detection for my for the little snake I have in my game. So what I had before was I would have a on collision enter, and it would cross-reference the tag of the object it hit as either obstacle or environment, something like that, and then it would disable the controls for the player. So how I achieve that, obviously, is I have well, it's not obvious, but it's very simple, is I just have all the controls within one if statement that says that the player's crashed. So if I would hit this wall, now I can no longer control the snake. I can press left, right, nothing happens. So the issues with that simple system I have, not with the if statement, but with the on collision enter, is these primitive blocks are all one shape. Like this base long one is all one block. That second layer is one block. So if I were to go on top of this, it would detect that as an impact, and it would turn off the controls for it. So that's not good. So the way I have gotten around this, because if I didn't change the way that this works, as soon as I go on there, it would detect as an impact, and the only way around that, I believe, while keeping that easy system, is making the top layer that I would be going on and the walls two different objects, and that's not really efficient. So what I've done here is I have this little aim block here. You might have noticed that there was that long white block right in the middle of my snake object, and it's more of a having the mesh renderer on this object is more of like a debug kind of option right now. But if I press play, so also if I pause it and I zoom in, this forward aim block object right here, I have a script on its child object crash detection. This crash detection object, I have a script on it, and it is taking this aim block, it is placing it at the second array position of the snake, and that object, while in the position of the second array position, is looking at the first position. So it is always looking directly forward. So I can place something as a child object and it will always be facing forward, because sometimes the issue with just placing an object and making its transform match, like if I had an object and I had to just match the transform of this first part of the array, it wouldn't always face forward. It would just be matching the position, not the rotation. And even if it did match the rotation, I don't have it set up where the head of this snake is always facing forward. These objects are just moving, and the objects in the array are lerping towards it, so there's no real reason to alter the rotation. So I have this object here, and it has a child object crash detection, and this object, since it's always facing forward in respect to the position of the snake and the way it's moving, is shooting a raycast, a very short raycast. That's roughly the diameter of the object, or its scale divided by 2, I guess. And it's just in the front of it. And what that raycast is doing is it's detecting these walls when it gets close enough to be considered pretty much an impact. So it's detecting the difference in the angle of the wall from the empty game object that is childed to this object here. So when it detects that angle is roughly 90 degrees, so like plus or minus 10 or 15 degrees from 90, it will enter that crash state that would normally be triggered by on collision enter. So if we go into the script, what I have here is that it's also detecting the so just detecting the angle doesn't really work, because if I were to take the snake and go up this little jump pad I have, which might not be set up, but see, there we go. If I go down like that, the angle of the second array object and the first array object will be having that raycast pointing down. And having that raycast pointing down into the roof layer, this upper platform that you can move on top of, it is still technically detecting the angle there, and the angle is roughly 90 degrees. So as soon as I land the snake on top of this platform from that jump, it'll detect it as a crash and the controls will be disabled. And that's obviously not what we want to happen. So I have a reference object, an angle reference object, which is just a cube. Could be an empty, it could really be anything. I have this cube here, and on startup with the crash detection object, I am taking that angle reference and I am tilting it 90 degrees on startup. So when my crash detection object detects the angles of the walls, I have it set to detect the angles of the wall. Oh, the wall is not just the difference between the angles of the walls and the first part of the array or the empty. It is detecting the angles of the walls. It will detect anything that is facing, not facing up or down as 90 degrees. So using that reference object, I can make it so that even if I jump up onto here using this, it will not detect it as a crash, because everything that it touches, see, it just hit that object, which is of course 90 degrees. It is detecting that object, but in reference to the angle reference object, it is not really an obstacle. So if I unmaximize, okay, I don't need to play it again because I have it down here in the corner. You can see I have in the debug code, it'll tell me the object and the angle of the object that it hits. So it's a wide short object, angle is 178.69 0.04 degrees. So it detected that, and well, of course, I was saying this whole time that it would be roughly 90 degrees, but it's detecting for 180 because of Euler angles and stuff like that. But that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. It works really smoothly, so now instead of having to have separate objects for detection of the walls, I can have it just detect the angles, so I can very smoothly just go up ramps. I can move around on this object still, and it will only ever detect a crash if I hit a wall. And there you go, my controls are disabled, and I thought that was a very nice way to have that system run. So thank you for watching. If anyone wanted to see the code, I guess I might as well go and look at it. Crash detection, and then jump in here. So it's setting that angle reference object at 90 degrees on the x-axis, so I can get all the all the side angles will be kind of showing up as the same thing. If I didn't turn that angle reference object when the snake object detected the angle of the walls, it'll detect it in global space looking forward. So when I start, any objects walls that are directly in front of me are going to be 90 degrees, and any objects that I hit the side walls of will be 180 degrees. And I wanted those side walls to be consistently 90, so I tilted the reference object. So I'm shooting that raycast. If it's not in layer 9, I don't remember what the point of that was. Oh, that's the body segments. So don't detect the angles of the body segments, don't detect the angles of points, and don't detect the angles of the main ground object, which is just the entire field that everything is on. Also, don't detect trigger boxes. So it gets the collider if the collider is a trigger, don't detect that. It's detecting the normal angle, so it's the angle, a vector, 3-dot angle, angle reference forward, hit dot normal. So it's just detecting the difference in the angle of the walls, like I first explained. And then this angle section here is getting the normal angle. And then this debug option is just showing, it's drawing the ray and it's showing the angle in the debug console. So if the angle is greater than 100 and the angle is not, and the normal angle is not less than 185 and greater than 175. So it's that short range where it's detecting it to get that kind of 180. I guess it's a lot more negligible than I thought. I thought it was like 10 or 15, but it's really just a difference of 5 degrees. So so that's the system I have in place, and it's working really nicely. So I like it a lot. Woo. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later in a different video.